Hello and welcome to the December 17th, 2023 episode of Nick's News. I am your host, Nick. This is brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, there's some budget for this. We've paid into it. We've gotten some wonderful new equipment and new programs and all sorts of new fun going on. We're on every other Sunday, and I thank you all so very much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News Facebook page. That's right, we're on Facebook Meta, whatever the hell it's called this week. We are cross-platforming. We are going to have the Nick's News YouTube page up before the year's end. I will promise you that much. I know it's already December 17th. I don't have much time to get that up, but we will have a Nick's News YouTube page up. And that'll be a nice place for me to store all of the Nick's News episodes, so you can catch them there or here on the Facebook page. We'll also have little clips because there's plenty of funny little moments from all of our episodes that I would love to turn into little snippets. So this is a platform dedicated to bringing some good news to counter all of the bad news that we're bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back to the world. Several of our articles are pulled from goodnewsnetwork.org, but we also appreciate articles sent in by you, the viewers. I was, of course, watching the chat. Surprise, surprise, it's not double chatting finally. I don't know what changed. Maybe Streamlabs. I run Streamlabs to do my live stream. And for the longest time, ever since we started using it, it has done double chat. So everything that everyone has posted has been duplicated. But for some reason, maybe there was an update. I don't know. It's not duplicating. So I have been reading it while the countdown was going on. Absolutely hilarious. No, Sean, I was not working on my lines at all. I am on time, but I'm late because my, so off to my left, the screen's right, I believe, is my bamboo. And my bamboo is taller than me. And it's also unruly. And I had to do a little bit of horticulture and tie it back finally to get it to stand upright and not be flopped over my desk. So that is why I am late. Very nice. Ooh, wait. Okay, it didn't double text. That's fantastic. Sure, you're a garden. Stop it! You're mean. Dick. I'm not even going to comment about your time off now. Alright, what do we got for our news brew? I think this one's hilarious. I need to edit the news brew part 2. So I got this brew from my friend Jason. I traded a Bell's Black Note Stout for it. It is called Possum Planet Porter. It is absolutely adorable. It's from Broadleaf Brewing and Broadleaf Brewery and Spirits. It's 6.2% ABV. It's a nice chocolate porter. And it is brewed as a team-up with West Michigan Wildlife Center. West Michigan Wildlife Center does a lot of work and specialization in rehabilitating animals and releasing injured or orphaned wildlife. So this is a brew for a great cause. If you spot it, I highly recommend you pick it up. We are going to crack this sucker open. No need for the Balisong bottle opener because it's a can. So let's just get a good crack. It was okay. Booze for the animals. And we are going to use our Iron Man pint glass because I can't get enough of this. Wow. Get all that gas out. Good carbonation. Jeez. We're going to let that settle and then we'll put the rest of the can in there. But that is a lot of carbonation that does not need to be in me. Let's see. So shout outs. You may notice, you may not notice, my laptop fan isn't going as hard as it normally is. So this shout out is to Austin, who's one of our watchers. Austin recommended that I get uBlock Origin to serve as an ad blocker to cut down on the toll that all these articles take on my laptop and usually cause my laptop's internal fan to spin up. So this is crazy. If Nick's News ever gets large enough that I have to do ad reads and do like sponsorships, I will ad read uBlock Origin in a heartbeat. I've got 14 articles. I've got Streamlabs running. I have my my little cue card effectively up, my Word document, and she's running like a champ. So this is crazy. I love this app. Thank you so much, Austin. To you, cheers. All right, that's a porter. That is a Possum Porter. I do not have my cookies yet. I have not had a chance to swing by Julie. I'm sorry. This weekend was quite a busy one for me. A lot went on. Ashley did tell me, or reminded me today, that we need to swing over to grab our cookies. So thank you very much for baking. And yes, we will be over this week to pick up the cookies, I promise. Let's see. News quote. This was an interesting one. I kind of liked this one. Let me move this over to the center of the screen. Every discovery opens a new field for investigation of facts, shows us the imperfections of our theories. It has justly been said that the greater the circle of light, the greater the boundary of darkness by which it is surrounded. Really like that quote. That is from Sir Humphrey Davy, who was a Cornish chemist and an inventor. They helped to invent certain things like early mining helmet lamps, the Davy lamp, and they served to find a whole bunch of different elements and materials, and also experimented with electricity and its effects on the human body. So some really interesting stuff. And that quote is just a reminder that as we expand our horizons and our understandings, so too do we still kind of... The flip side is we always expand our... that which we don't understand, and we find more that we need to illuminate. So every discovery opens a new field for investigation of facts, shows us the imperfection of our theories. It has justly been said that the greater the circle of light, the greater the boundary of darkness by which it is surrounded. So Sir Humphrey Davy, thank you very much. Cheers. Sean, everybody understands why you cause mischief. You're Canadian. Bug update. So I just have a real bunch of happy, healthy bugs. Since the last episode, we've had 3 darkling beetles that have reached adulthood. They're now happily exploring their new home with several others. I've lost count at this point, and they are all in the second tank, so that one. In the first tank, we did adopt a new bug. We have picked up a Larinoides, Larinoides scolopitarius, which is better known as a bridge orb weaver. It's a species of orb weaving spider. So what ended up happening is this particular orb weaver came crawling out of a loose ceiling tile at my work. And it was covered in foundry dust, and it was disheveled. She was disoriented. She's cleaned up now, and she has been eating very well. And with luck, she'll nab the infamous chirping cricket, who is oddly silent right now. Maybe he's learning. He's not alone, and there's a predator in his tank, finally. And she's living in the same terrarium. So it's this one right here. If you notice, it's back because I don't want to disturb it now that she's in there. The person who found it was our workplace safety engineer, Anne, our new workplace safety engineer. And in her honor, and at her request, I have named the spider Annie. So welcome to the bug updates, Annie the Orb Weaver. Cheers. When am I going to get a spider? Well, I got one. I've actually been keeping a few different spiders. So down in the roach tank, or the roach home, there's a number of different predators in there to take care of any situations where I have a population explosion. And it just so happened it worked. One of my female roaches did give birth, but the number of roaches that have reached adulthood is like maybe 2, because that tank has predators in the forms of a few different species of hunting or wolf spiders that I found and added to it, and they've been breeding successfully. And also it has a couple of centipedes in it. I found a brown centipede, put her... Well, I didn't know it was a her at the time, but I just added them to the tank, and sure enough, they were taking down the cricket population in the tank, and when the roach gave birth, they started taking down the roach babies. Well, it turns out that centipede was female and was also pregnant. And she had a litter of centipedes, so now that tank is a thriving ecosystem that is finding an interesting balance between the roach population, the cricket population, and the predator population. And it is fantastic. Free roaming spiders. No, I will not be getting a piglet, Sean. I'm not going to be getting any... I'm not allowed to have a dog. That's the only reason I have all these bugs. I mean, is it? I'd probably still have the bugs even if I had a dog. So... Alright, let's get into our articles. We got 14 articles, and a lot was sent in by you, the viewers. Thank you all so much. And these articles were great. And I managed to find a few cool ones to, fit in between them. So, our broadcast is broken up into 4 major categories. And those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and we end on those wholesome notes, which are those really nice feely articles at the end. So we're going to start with science and technology. I called this first one Supersized Star Power. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Boot up Facebook Live Producer, which has our live feed going so that I can post comments. I'll paste that in the chat. World's largest experimental fusion reactor generates first plasma in Japan. The largest operational nuclear fusion reactor on Earth just produced the first plasma when it came online over the weekend in Japan. Now, this article was posted on the 7th of December, so we're a weekend behind, but still pretty crazy. A tokamak-style nuclear fusion reactor, the JT60SA, used superconducting magnets to heat and contain a gas to 200 million Celsius. Let's figure out what that is in freedom units. 200 million Celsius to Fahrenheit. Thank you, Google. That is... Oh my God, what is that number? 1, 2, 3... That is 360 million degrees Fahrenheit. Damn. Nuclear fusion is billed as the holy grail of renewable energy, the solution to Earth's energy needs, and even the last revolution in energy. It mimics the process that powers our sun, but in a way that produces no emissions and no radiation. Originally developed in the Soviet Union in 1958, the tokamak, which is a Russian acronym for toroidal chamber with magnetic coils, is a donut-shaped reactor made of magnetic coils that can generate the pressure needed to contain the plasma within. When heavy hydrogen isotopes tritium and deuterium are injected into the chamber, their nuclei are fused, which creates energy in the opposite way to nuclear fission, in which an atom is split. The JT60SA measures 13.7 meters across and 15.4 meters high, and was assembled by a team representing more than 70 contracted companies and 500 scientists and engineers from Europe and Japan. Work on the device began in 2007 as part of an agreement between the European Union and Japan, which aimed to build the JT60SA as a smaller version of an even larger fusion reactor called ITER, ITER, which is currently being assembled in France. EU Energy Commissioner Kadri Simpson said the JT60SA was the most advanced tokamak in the world and called the start of operations a milestone of fusion history. Fusion has the potential to become a key component for energy mix in the second half of this century, Simpson added. Governments and a few private firms around the world have been struggling to advance nuclear fusion technology past the point where it generates more energy than it uses, which has been achieved before at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in the US, but not for very long, and I'm pretty sure we covered that article on a previous episode of Nick's News. Some firms have their own ideas of the best way in which to generate energy with plasma, but the overall industry has a long way to go, even though it has already come in leaps and bounds. Data from the JT60SA will be used to better inform the construction and operation of ITER, if it can come online in time for the originally predicted date of operation in 2025. That is indeed a little toasty at 320 million degrees, if I remember right. And yeah, about the Willie's shower temp. That's funny. Oh, that is good. And it is an arc reactor. And in effect, from what we saw from like the first Iron Man film, with the toroid-shaped arc reactor that was in the Stark building, it is an arc reactor. So that is really cool to everybody in Japan working on that project and bringing online, to date, the largest operating tokamak. Cheers. Oops, something's got my laptop spinning up. Come on, buddy, don't do that. There we go. I call this next one Charging on the Go. And I will copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. Detroit's newest road can now charge electric cars as they drive on it. Detroit, Michigan celebrated a major milestone in the future of vehicle electrification as crews finished installing the nation's first wireless charging public roadway last month. Using technology from Electrion, 14th Street is now equipped with inductive charging coils that will charge electric vehicles, or EVs, equipped with receivers as they drive on the road. This is crazy. The road will be used to test and perfect the Israeli company's wireless charging technology in a real-world environment to perfect it ahead of making it available to the public in the next few years. We're excited to spearhead the development and deployment of America's first wireless charging road, said Dr. Stefan Tongur, Electrion Vice President of Business Development. This milestone stands as a testament to our collaborative efforts with the state of Michigan and the Department of Transportation, also known as MDOT. The charging road, which runs between Marintet and Dazel Streets, paves the way for addressing range limitations of EVs. The move toward electrification was touted by Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who announced the pilot initiative in September of 2021 to develop the nation's first wireless charging infrastructure on a public road, after MDOT and Electrion entered a 5-year commitment to develop the electric road system, also known as the ERS. Electrion's wireless charging technology is based on inductive coupling between copper coils installed below the road surface and receivers installed on the underside of the car, or the electric vehicle. The road only transfers its electricity using a magnetic field when a vehicle with a receiver nears the in-road charging segments. These charging segments can transfer wireless electricity directly to the car battery when the vehicle is parked, static charging, or when it's driving, which is dynamic charging. The electric road is safe for drivers, pedestrians, and wildlife. Each coil in the road is activated only when a vehicle with an approved receiver passes over the coil. This ensures that energy transfer is controlled and provided only to the vehicle that requires it. MDOT and Electrion agreed to install a combined mile of inductive charging roadway in Detroit's historic Corktown neighborhood. The charging road runs alongside the new lab at Michigan Central Building, home to more than 60 tech and mobility startups, allowing for the further testing and advancement of this next-generation technology. In 2024, MDOT will begin seeking bids to rebuild part of US 12, or Michigan Avenue, which will see an additional inductive charging installed. Electrion has also installed 2 static inductive charging stations in front of Michigan Central Station, which will be able to charge Electrion-equipped vehicles while they're parked. Extensive testing of the inductive charging technology will continue in early 2024. Using a Ford E-Transit electric commercial van provided by Ford Motor Company and equipped with the Electrion receiver, staff will test the efficiency and operations of the vehicle and study potential long-term public transportation opportunities. This is really cool. Making it easier for EV users to find a reliable charging source without disrupting their commute supports both fleet operations and passenger travel, said MDOT Director Bradley C. Weifrick. Electrion operates 18 projects across 8 countries, including powering buses in Israel and electrifying roads in France, China, Norway, and Sweden. And Electrion's wireless in-road charging technology was named one of the world's top 100 inventions for 2021 by Time magazine. To everyone at Electrion and MDOT and at my home state of Michigan, working to electrify roads to charge EVs. Cheers. That is really neat. It really should, Sean, it really should, and it is good to see it becoming something like that. That is really sweet. All right, we've got our first user-submitted article, or viewer-submitted article. This one is from Cassidy, so thank you very much, Cassidy. I titled this one 42. And when we get into it, if you're a big fan of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you'll understand. So I will copy and paste this into the chat for y'all to read along. Scientists preparing to turn on computer intended to simulate the entire human brain. If you are trying to understand the brain, this will be the hardware to do it on. Researchers at Western Sydney University in Australia, because it's the Australians, have teamed up with tech giants Intel and Dell to build a massive supercomputer intended to simulate neural networks at the scale of the human brain. They say the computer, dubbed Deep South, is capable of emulating networks of spiking neurons at a mind-melting 228 trillion synaptic operations per second, putting it on par with the estimated rate at which the human brain completes operations. So that soggy bacon lump inside your mech skull is putting out, or is performing 228, or is believed to be performing 228 trillion operations, synaptic operations, the firing of synapses every second, to perceive our reality, to take in our data from our senses, and convert it into how we experience the world. And now we're trying to do it with a computer. The first person who introduces Reddit to this thing dies. I wouldn't say introduces AI. I'd just say if you show this thing like humanity's internet search history, it's gonna smoke us. But Deep South. The project was announced at this week's NeuroEng workshop hosted by Western Sydney International Centre for Neuromorphic Systems, or the ICNS, a forum for luminaries in the field of computational neuroscience. Once operational in April of next year, maybe it'll go online on my birthday, Deep South could provide researchers with an unparalleled look at how the human brain processes information. Progress in our understanding of how brains compute using neurons is hampered by our inability to simulate the brain simulate brain-like networks at scale, said ICNS director and Western Sydney professor Andre Van Schaik in a statement. Instead of aiming for Deep South to become the most powerful conventional supercomputer in the world, the researchers are looking to simulate the brain's networks of neurons using a neuromorphic system which mimics biological processes, per the press release. So who knows what the hell it's doing behind the scenes. That's just what they told us they wanted to do. They say the result is a more efficient and less power-hungry supercomputer, built from the ground up to simulate synaptic activity in the human brain. In simple terms, neuromorphic computing involves performing a lot of operations at once while only moving very little data, which makes it consume far less energy as well. Simulating spiking neural networks on standard computers using graphics processing units, GPUs, and multi-core central processing units, or CPUs, is just too slow and power-intensive, Van Schaik explained in the statement. Our system will change that. The researchers and his team are hoping to progress our understanding of the brain and develop brain-scale computing applications in diverse fields including sensing, biomedical, robotics, space, and large-scale AI applications. Uh-oh. For instance, the tech could lead to the development of advanced smart devices or allow AI models to consume less power. Other researchers are already excited about what the future of Deep South could hold. At the end of the day, there's two types of researchers who will be interested in this. Either those studying neuroscience or those who want to prototype new engineering solutions in the AI space. Johns Hopkins computer engineering professor Ralph Etienne Cummings, who was not involved in the project, told New Scientist. If you are trying to understand the brain, this will be the hardware to do it on, he added. Wow. Do you want super soldiers? Because this is how you get super soldiers. Oh no, not again. Wasn't that the Petunias? Deep Mind. I can't believe they called it Deep South. Frickin' Australians. Cassidy, thank you very much for sending in that article. And to everybody involved at building a brand new computer that models the human brain, whatever comes of this, cheers. Oh, boy. Wait a second. Where'd that article go? Oh, did I close an article on accident? I closed an article on accident. There it is. Okay. All right, so we're going to move out of Category 1, Science and Technology. We're going to move into Category 2, Health and Medicine. I called this one, CRISPR Shows Its Stuff. Yeah, the fan spun up, but I don't know, Eliza, I don't know if you caught the shout out earlier. Austin gave us an amazing ad blocker that has it running pretty smoothly right now with, 14 articles open and a whole bunch of other apps still on. So things are smooth. All right, health and medicine. CRISPR shows its stuff. I'll copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. There it goes. FDA approves cure for sickle cell disease, the first treatment to use the gene editing tool, CRISPR. No, you calm down. No, calm down. You've been doing good so far. There's no ads. Stop it. Stop. The first FDA-approved treatment using CRISPR may see hundreds of African Americans cured of sickle cell disease. It's just as excited as we are. Making headlines without end for years, but only approved for trials, a CRISPR product is now finally on the shelves, so to speak, and this iteration of the treatment is called Casgevy and is manufactured by Vertex Pharmaceuticals. CRISPR edits the genetic code of the body's own stem cells to treat conditions that arise from defective or mutated genes. Do you want super soldiers? Because this is how you get super soldiers. In the case of sickle cell, Homo sapiens evolved this genetic change to protect themselves against the malaria parasite of the African continent. However, the disease that sometimes results from the sickle cell gene, which affects over 100,000 Americans, can cause debilitating pain and shortened lifespan. It's been really remarkable how quickly we went from the actual discovery of CRISPR, the awarding of a Nobel Prize, and now actually seeing it being an approved product, said Dr. Alexis Thompson, chief of the Division of Hematology at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, who has previously consulted for Vertex. More like CRISPR cell. Yes, it fixes sickle cell. This is insane. Until now, the only previous treatment for sickle cell disease was a bone marrow transplant from a donor, which carried large risks, such as rejection by the immune system. It's also difficult to find a matching donor. While classified as a one-time treatment, the process involves many individual appointments, which themselves are painful. But NBC spoke to one woman who feels as if she's been given a second shot at life and can now run and go to the gym, things she couldn't do before. I'm just like a regular person. I wake up and do a 5K. Damn. I lift weights. If I wanted to swim, I can swim. I'm still trying to know how far I can stretch it. Like, what are all the things I can do, said 29-year-old Lorraine Morning. She would recommend the treatment to anyone who has the option, despite the painful administration process. Winning the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 2020, CRISPR is new and state-of-the-art. What it isn't, though, is cheap, and Casgevy costs $2.2 million. Because it can help prevent years of medical care, NBC reports at least some of the cost will be covered by insurance. So, yes, because CRISPR is brand new, the cost of utilizing it is exorbitant. However, just like any medication, hopefully, the price of utilization will come down as the process becomes more refined. Hopefully, insurance will be covering it, especially because of the benefits of life and reduced costs of care, because you don't have sickle cell anymore. It's insane. Yeah, I caught myself with, I thought of insulin, and I'm like, oh, shoot. So, yeah, having all your cells rewritten being painful? No, it's a good one. Just like any other treatment. I mean, I do a 5K. I don't look like it. I didn't shave, so you can see I've got a little bit of chub right now. But I run a 5K almost every day. It's really nice. But yeah, to everybody involved with getting CRISPR being utilized and technically on the shelf in the form of a treatment, especially for sickle cell disease. Cheers. I'm not sure what that was. I think Annie might have gotten something. Maybe. She's building a big web in there, so. I don't know what bullshit you can smell. I run a 5K every day. So, like, every day I go to the gym. Okay, so I don't go to the gym every day, but every day I do go to the gym, which is, I'm striving for 5 days a week. I run a 5K, so. Suck it, Sean. Get on my level. I call this next one, 3D printing isn't just for the hobbyists. And this was also sent in by Cassidy, so thank you very much, Cassidy. And I'll copy and paste this into the chat for y'all to read along. Not seeing comments pop up. Oh, there we go. Ope. All right, I'll paste this in the chat. Ultrasound enables remote 3D printing even in the human body. Mechanical engineers Shervin Fori and Mohsen Habibi were painstakingly maneuvering a tiny ultrasound wand over a pool of liquid when they first saw an icicle shape emerge and solidify. The pair shrieked so loudly that their colleagues down the hall at Montreal's Concordia University could hear them. Well, they would have heard us if they hadn't been at home because of COVID, Furoi says. Still, a quick video call let the researchers share their excitement. After months of effort, they had 3D printed a solid object by exposing a liquid to a focused field of sound waves, transmitted through a solid wall. The Concordia team's new direct sound printing technology is the first to create a solid structure using sound waves from behind a barrier. And although it is a long way to go to reach commercial viability, the researchers believe their remote control 3D printing opens the door to numerous possibilities. It could, they say, potentially enable minimally invasive tissue engineering and bioimplant repair within the human body. It could also support industrial repairs in other difficult-to-access places, such as inside an airplane's fuselage. Most commercial forms of 3D printing involve extruding fluid materials, plastics, ceramics, metals, or even biological compounds, as we've seen on some of our articles. Missed out on super soldiers. Through a nozzle and hardening them layer by layer to form computer-drafted structures. The hardening step is key, and it relies on energy in the form of light or heat. The fluid's ability to create chemical bonds and thus to solidify is controlled by the amount of energy each molecule receives, i.e., usually about how much heat it gets. And transmitting enough of this energy usually requires direct, highly focused contact between the energy source and the material. The Concordia team, including Oh man, Sean, I didn't proofread any of the names in these articles. This is gonna kill me. Including Muthukumaran Pakarasamy. Oh boy. Muthukumaran Pakarasamy, a mechanical engineering professor at the university who works on micro-electromechanical systems designs, had another idea. We wanted to do 3D printing in places that are not accessible to light or heat, says Habibi, then a postdoctoral researcher at the university. The team realized that sound waves offered a way to rapidly focus and manipulate energy without requiring direct access to the liquid material. This was the gap we wanted to fill, Habibi says. Using ultrasound to trigger chemical reactions in room temperature liquids isn't new in itself. The field of sonochemistry and its applications, which matured in the 1980s at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, relies on a phenomenon called acoustic cavitation. This happens when an ultrasonic vibration creates tiny bubbles or cavities within a fluid. When these bubbles collapse, the vapors inside them generate immense temperatures and pressures. This applies rapid heating at minuscule localized points. This is also kind of what happens when a mantis shrimp punches a crab. The Concordia team sought to unleash the power of sonochemistry as an unconventional way to print conventional materials, as well as ones that are impossible to print with typical energy sources. Those unimaginable temperatures and pressures generated in just a picosecond create conditions perfect for instantaneous printing, Habibi says. In their experiments, which were published in Nature Communications in 2022, the researchers filled a cylindrical, opaque-shelled chamber with a common polymer, polydimethylsiloxane, or PDMS, mixed with a curing agent. They submerged the chamber in a tank of water, which served as a medium for the sound waves to propagate into the chamber, similar to the way ultrasound waves from medical imaging devices travel through gel spread on a patient's skin. Then, using a biomedical ultrasound transducer mounted to a computer-controlled motion manipulator, the scientists traced the ultrasound beam's focal point along a calculated path 18 millimeters deep into the liquid polymer. Tiny bubbles started to appear in the liquid along the transducer's path, and solidified material quickly followed. After fastidiously trying many combinations of ultrasound frequencies, liquid viscosity, and other parameters, the team finally succeeded in using the approach to print maple leaf shapes, of course, seven-toothed gears, and honeycomb structures within the liquid bath. The researchers then repeated these experiments using various polymers and ceramics, and they presented their results at the Canadian Acoustical Association's annual conference this past October. All right, we got to thank Canada for this one. Manufacturing using sound is an incredibly innovative idea, and I am delighted to see it, says UIUC Professor William King, who focuses on advanced materials in manufacturing, nanotechnology, and heat transfer, and was not involved in the new study. The ultrasound approach, he says, holds intriguing possibilities for rapidly producing complex three-dimensional geometries that may not be possible with other manufacturing processes. Still, he points out that the 3D printing processes that are now mainstream succeeded by first finding a foothold in one or two niche uses. I look forward to seeing if sound-based printing can find the necessary application to succeed, King adds. How to punch people full of holes with sound. All the DBZ fights are about to become real. That is pretty slick. To everybody involved in utilizing sound, ultrasound, to perform 3D printing, and it may be used in the future to do 3D printing in the human body. And thank you very much, Cassidy, for sending in the article. Cheers. All right, this next one's easy. Cancer. Fuck cancer. I'll copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. Immunotherapy for hard-to-treat cancer just granted an FDA fast track during a promising clinical trial. We're back to the Australians. Thanks, Ben. Oh. An Australian pharma company has been granted fast-track status by the United States FDA for cancer treatment trials of bile duct cancer. This rare form of cancer has been found to be resistant to both conventional and immunotherapy treatments, but the firm's new version of an existing treatment, developed as part of a collaboration with the US-based City of Hope, has shown exceptional promise. In May of last year, City of Hope, a world-renowned cancer research and treatment organization in Los Angeles, dosed their first patient with a low amount of their oncolytic virus, a virus that only infects oncolytic cells, in a Phase 1 safety trial. Our previous research demonstrated that oncolytic viruses can stimulate the immune system to respond to and kill cancer, as well as stimulate the immune system to be more responsive to other immunotherapies, including checkpoint inhibitors, said Denang Lee, MD, principal investigator and assistant professor of City of Hope's Department of Medical Oncology and Therapeutics Research. That's interesting. The virus was engineered by Professor Yuman Fong, and it's now been licensed by City of Hope to the Australian company Imugene for use in its vaccinia treatment, known technically as CF33HNIS for bile duct cancer, with CF33 being the virus and HNIS being an additional chemical that allows researchers to image and track the virus in order to apply radiochemo treatment with extreme precision. Cancer-eating virus. Welcome back, Julie. It is interesting. It's so, Ben, not to correct, but one thing about oncolytic viruses, they don't necessarily eat the cancer, but they adhere to it. And the immune system loves hunting down oncolytic viruses. So it kind of just paints a target. It's kind of like when you're playing a military game or looking at, video from Desert Storm and Operation Iraqi Freedom, when military personnel would paint a target with a laser designator, and then there would be an airstrike that would hit a target. That's pretty much what's going on. Is the oncolytic virus is the laser designator, and the immune system is the bomber coming in. So they're lighting the cancer cells up, and then the immune system can better find them. It's all flashy. It's a fucking highlighter. Bioduct... Oh gosh, where were we? Here we go. Bioduct cancer occurs inside and outside the liver and is rare in the U.S. with just 8,000 people on average receiving a diagnosis per year. Fong's original oncolytic virus has been extensively studied and played a role in wiping out smallpox across... What? Wait. Hold up. Wait a minute. Fong's original oncolytic virus has been extensively studied and played a role in wiping out smallpox around the world. It has a short and well-understood life cycle that doesn't involve the use of the human genome, so it doesn't even do anything but paint targets. That's insanity! It can both deliver tumor-destroying agents and reduce their size itself. This is insane. This man's little virus that he built out of like biological Legos is a powerhouse. So it can. So Ben, you're partially right. It can destroy tumors on its own too, or it can bring their size down. So it does attack cancer cells, but it doesn't attack anything else. That's crazy. And it helped cure smallpox. In City of Hope preliminary trials in animals and cultured cells, it was shown to shrink colon, lung, breast, ovarian, and pancreatic cancer tumors. Imugene's trial under FDA guidance, called the MAST Metastatic Advanced Solid Tumors Trial, began with low doses of vaccinia to patients who have had at least 2 prior lines of standard of care treatment, according to the West Australian. The fast-track status will allow the company to work more closely with the wealthy FDA and have quicker data reviews in the future. Both Imugene and City of Hope are looking to recruit such patients at 12 different sites across 2 countries. Dang. That is bonkers. In our lifetime, if we don't make some big cures, I will be surprised and sad because of the incredible speed at which, I know, and in my head it's like something pulls me back because of capitalism, and I just think, if nobody's sick, you can't make money off the sick. But man, I hope that we could come up with some cures in our lifetime that will be meaningful and have huge impacts and improvement of quality of life for folks. This is crazy. Australians, you're gonna turn an AI on that's gonna blow us all up, but I hope you can cure cancer before that happens. Cheers. Agreed. Yep. Still need duct tape for stupid. All right, so that's going to get us out of health and medicine. We're going to move into category 3, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. Oh, what did I call this one? I called this one Give Trees a Chance. And I will copy and paste this in the chat for y'all to read along. Deforestation in the Amazon rainforest drops sharply in 1 year. Fewest acres since 2019. Or else. Deforestation across the Amazon rainforest has fallen by 55% this year, marking the lowest amounts since 2019, and somewhat of a major victory to recently elected leftist governments in Brazil and Colombia. The data was provided to Reuters via the Monitoring of the Andean Amazon Project, which tracks forest cover and loss across all the nations of the Amazon using the European Space Agency's Sentinel-2 satellite. So they're doing this from space. The data showed a 59% drop in primary forest loss in Brazil, which promisingly runs very close to the numbers provided by Brazil's government under Luiz Inácio da Silva, who ran on a part environmental platform. Peru's forest loss decreased by 1/3, and Colombia's by 2/3. Many former guerrillas that control parts of the forest have begun working in environmental sectors, and Reuters believes this might be part of why deforestation fell so much in Colombia. Bolivia also saw a drop in the rate of forest loss by 60% despite battling several severe wildfires. Among countries that experienced increased rates of forest loss, Venezuela, Suriname, and Guyana, MAP says this is down to natural causes like floods, mudslides, and strong winds. Some scientists believe that the Amazon rainforest's capacity to absorb carbon dioxide is the Earth's greatest tool to prevent climate change. Some rainforests, such as those in Costa Rica, are theorized as being net carbon sources rather than sinks because of the poor soil and rapid decomposition of biomass, but the Amazon hasn't been studied in this way. MAP believes the deforestation data will allow the Amazonian countries to have a strong negotiating position for international conservation funding at the upcoming summit for the signatures of the Paris Agreement, or COP28. Well, to all the countries that are working to diminish or reduce rainforest loss in the Amazon, cheers. I just remember a Robot Chicken episode where, was it, who was it? Some business mogul thought they were Captain Planet. They're just like, protect the planet or I'll fucking kill you. I lost my mind over that stuff. I thought it was hilarious, so apt. This next one comes from Julie. Julie, thank you very much for sending this one in. It is adorable. It's called Shed Saves. Well, I called it Shed Saves. I will copy and paste this into the chat for y'all to read along. Actually, do I need to refresh the chat? Somebody post something. Before I post this, I want to make sure chat's still... Oh, okay. Chat's working. All right, let me post this in here. Post from Tim. Y'all are funny. All right. A sea otter pup found alone in Alaska has a new home at Chicago's Shed Aquarium. An 8-week-old arrival from Alaska chirps loudly before devouring ice chips in the nursery at Chicago's Shed Aquarium. He is pup EL2306, proper name to be determined, a northern sea otter who was found alone and malnourished in the remote town of Seldovia in October and was taken to the Alaska Sea Life Center in Seward. Shed, one of only a few facilities in the United States with the resources to care for rescued otters, was contacted by the Sea Life Center, and the aquarium's otter team made the cross-country journey with the fluffy brown marine mammal who arrived in Chicago at the end of November. And there are images of him. Get ready to have an overload of cuteness. Caring for a little otter pup is just like caring for an infant, including round-the-clock feeding, said Lana Gonzalez, a manager of penguins and otters at Shed. He also needs to get groomed. Sea otters have a very dense coat. There's anywhere from 700,000 to 1 million hairs per square inch. And that's why they use to keep them. That's what they use to keep themselves warm. They don't have a thick layer of blubber or fat like other marine mammals do, so taking care of that coat is very important. An otter mother would typically teach her offspring to groom. The aquarium team acts in her place to encourage the pup's healthy development. On Wednesday, otter supervisor Tracy Deakins entered the pup's enclosure with clean white towels and encouraged him to leave the water. Deakins pointed to different spots on his fur, and the pup responded by licking or rubbing it with his paws. The pup will remain in Shed's Registine Sea Otter Nursery for a few months, building bonds with the staff, and he will eventually be introduced to the otter habitat and the 5 other otters at the aquarium. So, you finally prove that you're still alive. Annie, please kill him. Part of the growth process is moving pups from formula and small bits of clam to other solid foods. Gonzalez mentions the clam is restaurant quality and sustainably sourced. Rescued pups are usually designated by the federal government as non-releasable, and the shed expert said pups need their mothers for the first years of life. Once we bring him into our care, he won't be released back into the natural environment. They're just too used to people. But the good news is that he'll be able to be an ambassador for his species here at the aquarium. So we're really happy about that, said Gonzalez. Julie, thank you very much for sending that in. And to everybody at the Shed Aquarium who is now taking care of Otter Pup EL2306, who is, of course, going to get a cute name in the future. Cheers. New minion. Yep. You think Amir's spider can... I'm pretty sure she can. I handed her... It was so amazing. The first couple of days that I had her, I really wanted to feed her because I didn't know what the heck she'd been eating at work. And she was looking very small for her species. And so I went into the Darkling beetle tank, and they've already been reproducing. So there's a number of small superworms in there, and I picked one up with tweezers, and I handed it to her. Luckily Annie was out of the corner and was just chilling, and I just handed her a superworm, and she took it right away. And then she did it again another couple of nights after, and then 2 nights ago, she finally had built a web, and I put one in the web, and she tackled it right away. So she's hungry, and that spider's day, or that cricket's days are numbered. Squee Pants McSqueaker, please no. All right, Charlie sent in this next one, I believe. I titled it An Overdue Expansion. I'll copy and paste this in the chat. Yeah, Tim, it's an orb weaver. Just this last week. The giant god feeds me. I titled this one An Overdue Expansion. The actual title, The Critter Barn Breaks Ground on New $1.2 million Addition to Facility. In Zeeland, Michigan, the Critter Barn broke ground on a new $1.2 million addition to their facility on Tuesday. The 110-foot-long gable barn will house chicks, ducklings, bunnies, and the kitty corral. It will also have 4 classrooms and an air-conditioned, heated, and fully accessible space. The Critter Barn opened 40 years ago. The original goal of the barn was to introduce elementary school kids to farm animals. Since that time, it has evolved into an agricultural educational hub for schools and universities in the area. My place is like the Critter Corral. It's not quite a barn. I don't have the square footage. The Critter Barn currently hosts a hybrid kindergarten class with Holland Christian Schools. It also has a partnership with Ottawa Area Intermediate School District and Baker University. The Critter Barn has also recently acquired a Universal Design certification, which allows people of all abilities unlimited access to facilities and animal interaction. I've heard a lot of good come out of the Critter Barn for years, especially with their main goal of introducing elementary students and other people to farm animals in a controlled setting. And now that they're getting an extension, it is really cool to see. So, no, I'm not going to ask Ashley questions that she will agree with that come from you, Sean. That was kind of mean, but I know she'll agree with you, and I don't need to hear it. So that's really cool. Charlie, thank you very much for sending in this article. And to the Critter Barn expanding, cheers. All right, if you thought the last article from Julie was really sweet, get ready for this one. Julie, you know what's coming. I called this one Wobbling Their Way Into Our Hearts. The actual title is adorable. And I will copy and paste this into the chat for y'all to read along. Wobbly Kitten Charlie wins the golden ticket to live forever with Willy Wonka. Wobbly kittens Charlie Bucket and Willy Wonka are from Kansas City, and both were born with cerebellar hypoplasia, or CH. Willy Wonka's mom, Mandy, knew she was in trouble when she first saw videos of Charlie as a tiny kitten rescued from under a porch with his littermates. After the rescuer adopted Willy in 2020 through the Rescue Project, she couldn't resist caring for another adorable wobbly kitten. Mandy knew that if she didn't act fast, the odds weren't in Charlie's favor in a shelter. Weighing under a pound, Charlie was struggling with serious tummy troubles like many shelter kittens. While he overcame the tummy issues, his CH is incurable and will be with him for a lifetime. It's not painful, and these kitties can have full, happy lives with some relatively simple accommodations. Safe in his then foster home, Charlie's lovable and clever, playful personality emerged. On top of getting the zoomies, Charlie also has the wild wobbles, but doesn't know he's any different. He enthusiastically loves life just the way he is. There are videos of him wobbling his way around, and it is adorable. While the TikTok famous Willy Wonka has severe CH, Charlie Bucket's symptoms are on the mild side. To keep them safe from constant bumps and falls, they provide extra soft padding, elevated and soft food bowls, and a special low-to-the-ground litter box for Willy. There's plenty of videos. You can see many more tips on for caring for wobbly cats on Willy Wonka's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Over the summer, Mandy and her husband Philip announced that Charlie Bucket had won the golden ticket. They officially adopted him forever to join their home, shared with Willy and other furry friends. There's videos about Charlie Bucket's story at Geo Beats Animals. There's Facebook videos. There's YouTube videos to find. I encourage you to go through and watch a few if you're feeling down. This wobbly kitty lucked out. And Charlie Bucket now gets to live with Willy Wonka forever. Julie, thank you for sending that in. And to Charlie Bucket the cat with the wibble wobbles. Cheers. So with that, we're going to get out of flora and fauna, aka plants and animals. We're going to get into category 4, the wholesome notes. These are those nice touchy-feely articles that we like to end on. Charlie sent in this one. I call it, Keep on Backing It Up, Terry. And I will copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. There was a missed opportunity there, Eliza. Memphis man known for Back It Up Terry video gifted the new van. It's been 6 years since Back It Up Terry became an internet viral sensation. Ontario Terry Davis had his wheelchair malfunction, leaving him parked next to a lit firework while his family watched in horror, begging him to move. In May, the viral video star told Fox 13 that his mobility van was getting too dangerous to drive. On Thursday, a brand new van was delivered to Terry and his mom. The Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van was paid for through donations by his many fans and Superior Van and Mobility. Terry said that the new van would help his mother and grandmother get him to his doctor's appointments and to church. If you're not familiar with Back It Up Terry, there are plenty of videos that you can see online, on YouTube, on Facebook, regarding the original Back It Up Terry viral video. It's kind of harrowing, but now Terry is getting a brand new van, and that is really cool. Charlie, thank you for sending this one in. And to Terry and to everybody who got Terry this new van, cheers. The Sprinter vans are pretty crazy. I called this one The Healing Powers of Silliness. And I'll copy and paste this in the chat for y'all to read along. Teen who sends silly socks for seniors launches Christmas drive to warm toes and hearts in nursing homes. Thanks to a generous soul, there are dozens of people across the nation getting socks for Christmas, but they couldn't be happier about it. Ella Janelli of Stockton, California, has been making colored socks with silly designs on them for years, sending them to seniors in nursing and care homes to brighten up their day. It all started from the closer-than-close friendship she has with her grandmother, which instilled the value of spending time with the elders. The high school junior started the project Socks for Seniors all the way back in the 7th grade, and has so far spruced up 92 care homes in 48 states, making a few pen pals along the way. But as Christmas approaches, she's doubling down on her hobby to send boxes of silly socks to seniors in all 50 states in time for the big day. I know they have toys for tots and things for kids, you know, and you always seem to forget about seniors, Janelli told CBS. Maybe they don't have family, or maybe they live super far away and they're only getting like a postcard. To ensure that these seniors' toes and hearts remain warm this holiday, Janelli is hoping to raise $10,000 through a GoFundMe for a big sock drive. She's so far received 95% of her total donations with 19 days to go. This article was posted on December 16th, so I'm going to make a quick little stop at the GoFundMe for it. Yup, they have blown away that $10,000 goal. They are at $12,300 now. Great job. Wow. That is really cool. Oh, Sean, that'll never happen. My weather control device will get me killed eventually. But until that day comes. That is really cool. To Ellie Janelli and her silly socks, just warming people across nursing homes and care centers across the country. Cheers. Tim, it's a bridge orb weaver, I think. I'm having a little bit of trouble positively identifying her because she's still getting her color fleshed back out. But I'm pretty sure it's a bridge orb weaver. Well, that's weird, Lily. Julie sent in this next one. Y'all were killing it. Between Charlie, Julie, and Cassidy, I got some bomb articles. I am so happy. Thank you all very much. This one's really cool, especially because I love the Foo Fighters. I called it, It's Times Like These You Give and Give Again. I will copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along with me on this one. Yes, Lily, I will post a video. I'll post a photo and a video of her when she's up to 100%. She's not out right now, but she's usually up when I get up, so I'll take a look. But yeah, I'll post this to the chat. Y'all can read along. It's times like these you give and give again. Dave Grohl feeds the homeless during day off on Foo Fighters Australia tour. What is it with Australia? A lot of good is coming out of Australia. Also a murder AI, but a lot of good apart from that. So Dave Grohl served 430 meals in the space of 2 hours while taking pictures and signing autographs for those in need. Dave Grohl spent his day off on Foo Fighters' current Australia tour helping to feed the homeless. Grohl volunteered with the Melbourne-based charity the Big Umbrella Foundation. Umbrella Foundation? Anyone want to look up if there's a Raccoon City in Australia? Grohl volunteered with the Melbourne-based charity the Big Umbrella Foundation on Friday, December 8th, per news.au, treating people in need to an epic American-style barbecue with all the trimmings. Impressively, he was due to fly to Sydney not long afterwards. The organization shared a post to their Instagram of Grohl to the barbecue, accompanied by a caption telling the story of how he came to work with them. It will be a day our friends on the streets will never forget as they brushed up against a rock legend and one of the nicest guys on the planet who genuinely cares for people in need. No words can fully capture the impact of this positive experience, they began. Dave and his mates spent 18 hours preparing and lovingly smoking 120 kilos of pork ribs, pork butt, and beef brisket before delivering it to MG's Kitchen the next morning. MG's Kitchen, named after our dear friend and mentor Michael Gudinski, was filled with the big-hearted, awesome crew from Frontier Touring who dedicated their day to prepping this very special lunch for people experiencing food insecurity. They arrived at 9 a.m. to MG's Kitchen, bounding with energy and enthusiasm to prep soft potato rolls piled high with pulled pork, coleslaw, and pickles, smoked pork ribs, and succulent beef brisket. At Fed Square, there was a record line of friends waiting in the 36 degrees Celsius heat for this much-anticipated feast. What's that in freedom units? 97 degrees. It's 97 degrees in Australia, which, from everything we've seen, kind of seems like it'd be like the average. Just lined up for this feast. Word had spread far in the community who had no idea what special superstar guests would be there on the day to serve them. The invitation to enjoy an American barbecue was enough of a draw card for them. So they didn't even know. These folks who were facing food insecurity didn't even know Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters were going to be there. And they just show up and it's like, oh my God, I get to enjoy a meal that was cooked by just an amazing human being. That's awesome. Oh, it's summer there right now. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, Christ. There's a store called Raccoon City. Oh, no. Is it in Melbourne? Dave, Nick, and Nat served tirelessly in the sweltering heat for over 2 hours, feeding 430 meals, posing for photos, signing whatever people found from cardboard plates and t-shirts, whilst also being so humble. What a guy. What a day. Wait for Deep South AI. This isn't the first time Grohl has taken time out of his schedule to feed the homeless. In March, he helped out at Hope of the Valley's barbecue in Los Angeles, cooking for and serving 458 people over an 18-hour period, and did the same for Feed the Streets LA. Earlier this month, Grohl released an extended live version of his 23-minute-long instrumental, Play. That is really cool. Julie, thank you so much for sending that one in. And to David Grohl and the Foo Fighters, thank you for being amazing human beings and taking time out of your tour to make food for hundreds of people, meet with hundreds of people, and just be incredible human beings. Cheers. All right, I called our final article of the night. That's in Adelaide, okay. I called our final article of the night, Isaac is at it again. And I will copy and paste this in the chat for y'all to read along. Some of you might remember, some of you might not, that months ago, when Nick's News started to really ramp up and get a brand new splash of paint and really start to become something a little bit bigger, we covered an article about a young boy named Isaac. Isaac started a food pantry out of a shed. I immediately liked and followed Isaac's page. I've been watching everything he's been doing since that day. It's been absolutely phenomenal. It's crazy how much this young man is doing, and now he's doing something even more. Boy who started food bank in his shed now opens holiday gift bank for hundreds of poor kids. Last year, GNN reported on the kind heart of 11-year-old Isaac Winfield, who opened a food bank in his garden shed to help the poor during the COVID-19 lockdowns. Now, Isaac is preparing to open a gift bank for moms and dads who can't afford presents for their children, in addition to a 5th shed-borne food bank. A 5th shed food bank. He has been cracking open new food bank sheds and is now doing one for toys for kids. December is a big month for Isaac. It's his birthday month, but there's also Christmas and the anniversary of the launch of his food bank, which he started with money from his birthday. He went on to open additional food banks in his hometown of Redditch in Worcestershire, England, after realizing how many people in his community needed a helping hand. His gift bank opened last week after enlisting the help of the local Greenland pub, raise a glass, to store the hundreds of toys and gifts for needy families he's received from donors. Christmas can be a stressful time, and Isaac wanted to help as many people as possible have a celebration without worrying about what is under the tree, said his mother, Claire. Worcestershire. He is absolutely ecstatic seeing his shelves full of toys and gifts for all families. His dedication for his week. I think this quote is wrong. His dedications, his weekends and spare time, or he dedicates his weekends and spare time to helping. This one's bonkers. This spelling is weird. His dedication, his weekends, and spare time to helping is the best Christmas present he could have asked for. There we go. We got through it. That is really cool. According to Claire, they had 200 children arrive on the first day of their present bank. The response has been phenomenal. We'll be holding present bank days another 3 times at this same pub and put on more dates if there's still the demand, says Claire. We've had baby toys, books, dolls, teddies, Nerf guns, blankets, toiletries. There's just a bit of everything here. It has all been quite overwhelming to see. The 5th food bank has been opened alongside the YMCA, and the support we've had for that has been incredible also. Anyone with toys or food to donate can find all the links on the Friends of Isaac Food Bank page on Facebook, which I am going to paste here. It is an absolutely amazing thing that this young man has strived to do since his birthday last year. Taking his birthday money and starting a food bank and blowing it up into this amazing project. So to Isaac and to his entire system, everybody involved with the Isaac Food Bank project, cheers. Good boy. Good lad. And that's about it. That is all of our articles. 14 great articles. So many articles that were sent in. I think 6 articles were sent in. Let me go through it. Julie, Charlie, Julie, Cassidy. Yep, we had 6 great articles that were sent in. Really, thank you so much, everyone who contributed everything. I love this kind of stuff. I love the interaction. I love everyone chatting along in the chat, talking to me, talking to everyone else. You know, this is kind of what I really want to build up and continue with Nick's News. I want it to continue to grow, especially getting into 2024. We'll have the YouTube page. And, you know, whatever I got to do to make this work and expand this so we can get more of this good news out there to combat all that bad news that we're bombarded with. It's just really... I enjoy it, and I hope that I can spread some joy and some goodness. And if you guys find anything, I love bringing this up. I love presenting all these articles. So it's really cool. We got to figure out when our next episode is, because I realized something as I was looking at the schedule. So the next Sunday that I would do Nick's News in 2 weeks would be December 31st. It would be New Year's Eve. So we have a question. Do we do Nick's News New Year's Eve? Do I try to do Nick's News New Year's Eve? There's no guarantee. I don't even think I'm going to be home for it. So, do I try to do it from where I am at the time? Or do we do Nick's New Year's News? No, switch weeks. Damn. We're not going to switch weeks. I think what we might do instead is we might do Nick's New Year's News on New Year's Day. So our next episode is probably going to be on January 1st of 2024. Probably. We're going to see how hungover I am. Whether or not I'll want to drink a news brew. And whether or not I can stumble my way through however many articles we have for New Year's Day. I think that might be it. So yeah. Expect our next episode. Hair of the dog. All of y'all are chiming in. It's going to be hair of the dog. Yep. It's pretty much going to be that way. So expect that. We're probably going to have New Year's Day Nick's News. That'll be fun. We'll make it fun. So, thank you all again for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News Facebook page or on the future Nick's News YouTube page. Again, we're live usually every other Sunday, but our next episode, as we have gone over, will be on Monday, January 1st of 2024. I can't believe it's on a Monday. It's going to be terribly awesome. I encourage participation, so if you feel inclined, you can please message the Nick's News Facebook page. You can post suggestions for news brews, shout-outs, really good news quotes, or even good news articles that you find that we can present on future episodes. If possible, I do appreciate a variety of articles spread out across our 4 categories, and those categories, again, are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, and the wholesome notes, those really nice articles that we like to end on. So, oh man, Tim, you're making rewind quite a bit. Possum Planet Porter. It's a really good porter. So, oh, that's okay, Tim. No worries. I'll rewind for you. So, as always, thank you again. I love you all. And have a great night. And I'll play us out.